Good morning, everybody. It is the 20th of May. Late yesterday, let's go straight to the charts, guys. Trying to be like straight and to the point. Kind of echoing here. Anyways, we'll fix that later. Where are we? Okay. So, yesterday, pretty slow day. Mr. Powell speaking, slight move up. But then at the end of the day, news came out that the vaccine trial that everybody was all gaga about earlier in the week was nonsense. Not nonsense, but they're saying that there's key evidence that you need to have in a trial that they don't have. And they're suggesting that they just kind of put it out there so that they could do a stock offering or something like that, make a ton of money, and basically play to everybody. That's what they're saying. So we had a pretty good move down into the close. I'm really I'm disappointed I wasn't streaming at that time and tricked because that is exactly the sort of move that I want to be playing right now. But I digress. Since then, overnight, during the Asian and European markets, sentiment has been pretty mixed, but still up in the equities. So it's been kind of choppy. I wouldn't say that it's anything decisive, but so far it doesn't look like that vaccine trial not working out has really affected them. Okay, block buy right there ahead of the open in the treasuries. If we come over here to the treasuries, so the treasuries are up a little bit since then. But they had like a really big move down. So Monday it was so big down. There was this little bit that we could have caught yesterday. Here we are. Somebody buying ahead of the open. I'm wondering if somebody is going to try and go long here. We've got about 2 minutes. So we're on time today, my friends. We're on time today. So I am really happy about that. Yes, on time. And then I know I was feeling extremely tired last night, but I got to bed early. I'm feeling pretty great right now. So that's where I'm at. I would really like to come in and just make like an early call. I mean, you can see, look, the equities are just going. They're right now. They seem to be suggesting to me that we don't care and we're just gonna buy this. I don't know. I am not. I do not believe in waiting. This moment, I do not believe in waiting. But I just don't think I can make a real call here. It seems kind of, yeah, I don't know, man. It doesn't seem right. Treasuries are definitely getting kicked down there ahead of the open. Look at the volume they're trading in the 10-year. Well, let's pay attention. Let's see if they buy the open here. Got about 45 seconds before we hit that. Donald Trump is tweeting, I said no to a deal, Lou. If I would be willing to remember, they would recommend no jail time. And I said no. This president needs to be reelected, Lou. One of the greatest presidents of my lifetime. I would never give false testimony against him. Quoting Roger Stone. Donald Trump tweets, Roger Stone has been treated very unfairly. How about that jury forewoman? Does anyone think that was fair? Disgraceful. Stay tuned. Oh my, he's going to do something. Is he going to pardon Roger Stone? And guys like low rating Psycho Joe Scarborough are allowed to walk the streets open. Cold case. Man. Okay, but not significant. Okay, so here's the open. A tick up. But nothing too crazy. Eh. So they must have made their moves already right there. So that's curious. Also noticing that the whole book is offered in the treasuries. So they seem to be suggesting a move down still. Let's see what traders on Twitter are saying. Oh, Peter Davies, situational awareness on the 21st. That's tomorrow. Futures IO if you're registered over there. Global Times, US and Taiwan want to play petty tricks at a low cost, which is too naive. We will make them feel pain in places they can't think of. This is the global Patrick Rooney retweeting the Global Times. Okay, so one thing I did notice in my note reading over the weekend or overnight was that China is talking really mean again. They seem to just be really really uppity and trying to scare everybody away from looking into this coronavirus outbreak thing. Will be interesting. Anthony Sacramuzzi tweets, sort of incredible what has happened, 90K dead and on its way to 200K by 11-3. He really sucks, has no clue. Well, Anthony, I don't think that there's too much that you can do about that death rate. Like, probably 200,000 is right, but if we don't reach hospital capacity, mission accomplished. As ugly as that sounds. We're definitely getting some movement here. Well, they pushed a little bit lower in the treasury. So at the moment, the treasuries seem to be suggesting risk on. Let's see what else we got going on here. Hey, gold not really moving all that much, nor is the 6J or the euro. Dollar is down now, though. Previously, we were around 99.4. Now we're at 99.25. Oil at 32. And there was a decent amount of cumulative delta for this time of day on that move up, too. Okay, so I'm seeing some icebergs here down at 27.5 and 28. And it's so early in the day to be seeing icebergs like that. Seems like the curve is flattening, though. Except for on that move, the 2s and 10s steepened again. It looks like they're trying to flatten it, but it's not happening yet. It's not in the 5-year either. Curious. Need to fix my blinds here. Hold on a second. go. No, it's silly, but I can totally hear in my headphones. I can hear when there is like, yeah, see, I fixed it. I was I was a piece of cardboard over in front of that absorber over there, and I was hearing the reflections from it. Yeah, so there's another little push down. Man, that's some reloading right there. There's a lot of volume on that. So we want to be seeing it come down probably to 13. Sorry, 20. Okay. Germany says proposed recovery fund is not about joint borrowing. Franco-German proposal for a half trillion euro fund to support EU countries is not about joint borrowing or joint bonds, the German government spokesman said. The PR campaign begins, I see. Canada poised to dip into deflation, tweets Forex Live. U.S. Senator Rubio says there appears to be consensus to give companies more time for PPP loans, says Fox in Fox News interview. I honestly have not seen action this early in quite some time. And we don't have news coming up here at the bottom of the hour. We have Canadian news, the inflation rate. That'll be interesting, but it's unusual to see this kind of volume at this time. And when it's this early, this really looks to me like bulls are setting up for another strong update. Like they're getting out in front of it. They're saying that the vaccine news yesterday doesn't matter, and I think that even though I was very much like let's sell that move yesterday, I kind of feel that the calculus on the short is way different from the long because when you're doing the long, you've got the Federal Reserve backing you. So when they go up, they're always going to like just push like crazy up and overextend and be overly rosy. And on the downside, you'll have a little bit of a panic, but then quickly fly into floor. And so what you can really say is, yeah, the news when the vaccine came out did move the markets, but it was an excuse. They're always going to buy it. They were always going to buy it, and the vaccine just gave them the excuse that they needed to really push the market in their direction and do it faster. There's a lot of volume around here. I don't like being where all the volume is. Down tick. 400 offered. 5-year hitting 16 and a quarter. But there's an iceberg down there too. Britain, there will be unfettered access for Northern Ireland's producers to the UK market. This will be delivered through legislation by the end of the year. There will be some limited additional process on goods arriving in Northern Ireland from the rest of the UK, notably import declarations. Okay, here's the Canadian numbers. Inflation rate year over year, 1.2. Inflation rate month over month, -0.7. The core inflation rate was 1.2, and the inflation rate is -0.2. Wholesale sales month over month, -0.2. Versus an expected -3.8. So actually better than expected. Take a look over here. Markets. The E-mini's going to go again, is it? Yeah, they're sure threatening it. Well, they got to get above 29.55 and a quarter. Where is that chart, by the way? There we go. You know what? We need to clean this up. As fun as this has been to look at, I don't think I'm using it. So let's just clean it up so that we can see the action there, because those ranges are pretty messy. Justin Trump threatens to withhold Michigan funding over mail-in voting. Swiss government expects costs of around 300 million SFR for necessary COVID-19 vaccine doses, and securing vaccine availability says some could likely be paid from already approved credits for COVID-19 fight. Tweets first squawk. Okay, so I am noticing the book changing on me here in the 10-year. So we're gonna, well, hold on. Okay. So there's a lot of contracts got traded here in this area too at 29.53. I did not realize. Donald Trump tweets, some wacko in China just released a statement blaming everybody other than China for the virus, which has now killed hundreds of thousands of people. Please explain to this dope that it was the incompetence of China and nothing else that did this mass worldwide killing. Market may be reacting to that a little bit. The Twitter robots definitely did something there, but it didn't like move or anything. So 10-year trying to clear 27 by hitting into an iceberg again. This is just iceberg city over here. Iceberg City. I guess it's not insane. 3,000 at 26.5. Now a good 3,000 on both sides at 27. 5,000. Trading good numbers here. Forex Live retweets Donald Trump's tweet there saying U.S.-China relations crumbling fast. You know, like when I read those things, I kind of think, well, yeah, they get to talk the talk, but they're not necessarily going to do anything. Then I don't know, based on what I'm seeing just at the moment right now, maybe that's what other people are thinking too. What's Futures Magazine got to say here in the morning? Each day on the European market opening, Anthony Chung and Amplify Trading gets you prepared for the trading day. Amplify Trading focuses on relevant macroeconomic insights. Well, I might want to take a look at that in the future. Oh, they have a little video. Oh, but it's just not... I'm not going to watch the video right now. They don't have text. I want text. Let me read things. Oh, well. I wonder, are we... The stream okay here today? Might not be showing up correctly. No, it is. I don't know what the... Oh, you know what? My thing is just slow. Yeah, I got you. Up here it says there's only one viewer, but then down here it says there's 15. We're good. We're good. I was wondering. I was like, oh no, is something wrong? No, we're good. Maybe I should refresh the page. Maybe you guys are saying stuff and it's not sending it to me. Nah, you guys are just quiet this morning, that's all. You know, here in this 26.5-27 area, I really don't like being in where the volume has all happened. But now that it's happened, I'm thinking that we might have to trade like 10Ks around here. Man, well, I'm hoping that it's quiet just because you guys are all making your moves, right? Because look, this market is the most active I've seen it at this time of day in a very, very long time. And on a day that there's not news, I find incredibly interesting. And here's a couple of other things that maybe we should point out, right? It is a Wednesday. There tends to be more large moves on Wednesday. Um, when you're seeing volume like early in the session, it matters more because it's more likely to be entrances. So I'm 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 a little excited. I don't know how this trade right here is going to work out, but I'm a little excited to see how this market turns out because I haven't seen this in a long time. I think that the Bulls are going to want to come in and make a strong showing in the face of that weakness on the close yesterday. Some Bears are going to be want to say, here's our chance to strike them down. If they were able to turn the indexes negative, that could maybe change sentiment. We could get a battle on our hands today, maybe. So far, though, in equities in particular, it looks like that the Bulls are firmly in control. There's a downtick in the 10-year, and nobody's hitting 25 half yet. There it is. Oh, they're waiting for the 5 and the 30. The 30 seems to be once again leading the down move. Okay, there's this liquidity at 25 half has been there for a while. If they get rid of that, then the book in the 30-year could flip too, and then maybe we could see some more extended downside. And there's some big targets down there at 178.16, 13 and 14's got some size on it. Okay. So they do trade into the 25 half. There's an iceberg there. But they traded more than the 2000 that was being bid. Man. And then I'm just seeing all of the news squawks retweeted that tweet from Donald Trump and going, wow, brutal. Trading Floor Audio says, crikey, brutal on China from U.S. President Trump. U.S.-China relationship collapsing. It could be a significant thing. Could be a significant, I don't know. I feel like it's the yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do with the scalps today. I feel like for the one rain for the the 5 tick trade that I've been doing, of course I don't expect that to be profitable, but I do expect to get better at it. And I feel like that I gotta change it up and I'm not quite sure what I gotta do to improve it. Um but I had some ideas. I don't even remember what they were now. Oh, I think part of it is that I need to watch for the volume a little bit because one of the things that I like to do is to look for reloading after a trend for a continuation. And sometimes that leads me to taking a trade where it's not really reloading for a trend continuation. It's just they're both trading in a volume node. And then you get in a range where they can kind of stop you out on both sides. And I think that might be one of the problems that I'm having with that trade. But I'm also trying to shift back a little bit to uh, well, I have to give you context, I guess, but it used to be that I would just read the order flow and I was mostly trying to trade based off of sentiment from the news stories of the day and so forth. And when we got into the E-mini, I started going dabbling a little bit more in charts, trying to find some stats and things like that I could work. But what I found in the E-mini is that the E-mini just has too much noise for me to really reliably catch those kinds of trades. So I think that what we've got to do over there and right here is, move back more towards what we were doing before and really relying on changes in sentiment. So the read that I'm making today is that there was a potential change in sentiment at the close yesterday, but you always got to be skeptical about closes, guys. Closes don't necessarily matter as much. And then you watch the Asian and the London sessions overnight. They didn't really do anything with it. The equity market is up overall. I think that you have to. I think the calculus right now is that it did not result in a change. So, and then when I started to see the treasuries push down and all of the volume that they were doing so with, I said, okay, that's enough for to convince me about which way the sentiment is going, and we're going to just try and write it. And I have a pretty good idea of where I think I want the 10-year to go. So, but we'll still try doing the scalps in the E-mini. I wasn't too happy with it yesterday. Been much happier with my treasury trades. Tom Fitton. Pelosi is not backing down, seeks to destroy all voter ID laws, flood the system with mailed ballots, etc. Call your congressman and let them know what you think. Pelosi vote by mail scheme would overturn voter ID laws in 35 states. Wow, that's Tom Fitton. Oh, he was tweeting that earlier than that. So so for you guys that don't know who Tom Fitton is, he is he's a lawyer. He's the head of an organization called Judicial Watch, and the reason why I reading out what he's tweeting is because he's a very influential person in Trump world. I'm almost certain that if Tom Fitton tweets something, that Donald Trump is reading it, and it appears to me that Trump world is egging for a fight over voter ID and vote by mail. So that could be something that's significant. Both because you're going to get a lot of political drama over it that could affect markets, but then also it could have a significant impact on the actual election results. I'm a little concerned that what we see from polling right now is probably not going to be very accurate to what we see on election day because the voter turnout models are going to be completely different, especially if many places are using vote by mail when they weren't. When you have vote by mail, that really helps the underdog in many cases. And, but that's kind of more in safe states. How does it affect, the swing states? And I'm not sure right now when we were looking at everything yesterday. It looks awfully close. The election looks awfully close. So stuff like this really matters. That's why I'm reading that out. And yes, it does look like Donald Trump is going to pardon Roger Stone. That tweet earlier, that's what that seems to suggest. So there could be a lot of drama coming up here, and maybe the news will finally turn to something other than coronavirus. Roger Stone being pardoned, that could maybe. Oh, some Democrats would have an absolute conniption fit over that. Okay, so here's the E-mini trying to make a run for that 29.55 but not quite yet. The Hill, 2 Southern churches forced to reclose after leaders and congregants get coronavirus. Armed groups loyal to warlord Haftar fired rockets into Deribi neighborhood in Tripoli, causing damages to houses, says the Libya Observer. Maybe important news for oil traders. It doesn't seem like something that would really move them, but yeah. Utah experienced its highest death count for a single day yesterday with 8 recorded fatalities from coronavirus. Well, so yeah, that's a really good question, Sam. Let me answer Dan's question first, though, because he posted it first, and it's a shorter question. So I always check CNBC. The thing that I really like right now is News Squawk, formerly Rand Squawk. You can go on there and you can sign up for a free trial, and you can get their Squawk for 2 weeks, and it's totally like I think it's something that everybody should try. Of course, like you're gonna be really disappointed because then at the end of that, you're gonna look at how much it costs and you'll be like, well, I'm not gonna do that. But they also have a morning rundown that they post on their blog every morning that I think is one of the best sources of to figure out, what is going on in the markets overnight, so that when you wake up. So I really like that, and I would recommend. I'm posting the link to it in the morning briefings every morning, but that's what I'm reading when I wake up. Okay, so do you have any money in the market all the time? So I have some investments in stocks and things like that. So the way that I look at it is trading is a hobby. I am trying to refine my skills. I think that what you learn from trading can be useful to investing because it can give you an idea of what the market cares about, how things move, um, what the sentiment is when there's behavioral inefficiencies in the market that should, make you want to wait to get better prices and stuff like that. So I think that trading can be useful that way, but I don't expect to make money from the trading. I realize that it's a really risky game and that most people fail. So when I get real money, like from the stimulus, I transferred that over to my brokerage account. So I kind of take the view of the long term investing and trying to maintain a balanced portfolio of stocks, and keep the trading to that extra risk capital. Okay, some iceberging at 27.5 now. Yeah, so that's how I take it. And that's how I would recommend that any new trader takes it, because you got to realize very very few people make money doing this, and the people that do that have a significant advantage over the rest of us. It's competitive, and you just got to realize where you are on the totem pole. You got to be realistic, right? You won't have these dreams that you're going to make it hit it big when that's not a realistic thing at that moment. Like everybody comes into it with the mentality of, oh, I'm going to do it full time. Like this is going to be my living. No. You get greedy if you do that. You kind of setting yourself up for failure if you do that. I understand the mentality of going in to win. Like you do have to go in to win, but you also have to be realistic, and I'm not quite sure how you balance that out in your head, but it's definitely a thing, and I've seen people fail because they try too hard. Massimiliano Barotta is seeing a surge in customers coming to sell their gold in his Rome store as Italians feel the economic pain of the government's lockdown imposed to curb one of the world's worst COVID 19 epidemics. People are coming in and selling their gold because they don't have any other money, I guess. This is this thing that I think is really interesting with the way that gold has behaved in this environment, right? They're not we've seen selling because people have their assets in gold and they have to sell it to pay for other stuff. And so in that, gold kind of ends up not being such a great safe haven. But you know what? The problem right now is deflation, not inflation. So it would also make sense that you'd have some problems there, right? Mm-mm-mm. Well, 8,000 traded into 27.5. I did not see the same amount of flow in the other treasuries, but I am seeing that the book is changing on me. Hmm. Yeah. Well, and here's another thing that we really got to realize. Like honestly, I think that this is a thing that people don't want to accept, and we're seeing some pretty big orders going through in the 5 year at the moment. Um, yeah, I think it's something that a lot of us don't want to accept, but it's absolutely true. The amount of opportunity that you get, especially from trading futures, is very much a function of how much money is coming into your market and how active your market is. And right now, money is coming out of all of the markets. So you're not going to see a whole lot of people making money from doing this right now. You're just not. You're honestly better off trading as sim, holding off and waiting for a more favorable market to risk your capital in. Mm-mm-mm. Luckin Coffee shares extend losses pre-market after delisting notice from Nasdaq, down 38.4%. U.S. says Peter Taylor and Michael Taylor have been charged with enabling Gossin's escape. U.S. at request of Japan arrests two men accused of smuggling former Nissan Motor Company boss Carlos Ghosn out of Japan. Yes, okay. I forgot about that story. That whole thing was really super weird. Okay, so the equity markets are showing a little bit of weakness, and the treasuries have ticked up 2 ticks. They did clear that 7.5. See the 5 year trying to push it back down. I don't know about that one. They didn't really offer anything, but there is a stack at 17.25. Coming up at the top to the top of the hour. I'd say that the treasury market has been unusually active for recent history. The equity markets, there's been some activity. It's been slow at times. They keep doing this. They're kind of doing like a consolidation pattern and toying around with, oh, hey, are we ever going to come up and bust 25 or 55? Push up. And now hitting in 27 and more iceberging there. So it's pretty hard. It's pretty being difficult to really make much sense of all of this iceberging. Like we should make note of it, but I can't really predict what effect it's going to have. You just don't know what that guy is really doing. Do notice that the 30 year did not really pull back. The 5 year really pulled back, but the 30 year barely did at all. And the 10 year just kind of stuck, kind of caught between them being stretched. They do seem to be reacting to ticks in the E-mini. So that's kind of curious to me. And we're trading 500s here. And yes. Okay. Somebody just sold all that at 27. That one, I think, this is like really guesswork, and I don't really know what happened. But, so much went into 27 half and bought that to see that sell at 27, maybe that was somebody was expecting them to push up through, and they're saying, it's not happening and bailing early. So it's good for our position, but we can't really read too much from it, right? Because that doesn't really tell us a whole lot about what's going to happen next. Okay. The E-mini is making another push, though. Fed's kept land. My guess is that the Fed will need to do more. U.S. effective federal funds rate at 0.05% on the 19th of May on 86 billion in trades versus 0.05% on 87 and the 18th of May. Kaplan says can't legislate or stimulate consumer activity, need to invest in testing so they feel safe. It's interesting he's speaking because I do not see that on my calendar. 17 holding in the 5-year, huh? Well, they're still trading a decent number of contracts over there in ES. I think here on this one, I'm going to make a new tab and give myself an extra E-mini chart that's a little zoomed out because there's a couple of things that I'm interested to see at the moment that I'm not really capturing. And then paint the background. Sure. Tick back up 27 half. Yeah, and then I want to add, do I have it? I have the floor pivots. Yep. Oh, well, that is what I wanted. Well, now they're hitting into 28. Kaplan says unemployment to peak around 20%. I thought it was like 40%. Okay, do see gold took a little bit of a dive with the 6E and the 6J moving up and the dollar moving down. Okay. Treasure. The E-mini edging up a little bit again. It's just like tick by tick though. I don't know if they're gonna go here. Yeah, whatever. Okay, so they did take 828 up there as well. Donald Trump tweets the state of Nevada thinks they can send out illegal vote by mail ballots, creating a great voter fraud scenario for the state and the US. They can't. If they do, I think I can hold the funds to the state. Sorry, but you must not cheat in elections. And he attached the US Treasury to that tweet. Hmm. Hmm. It does look like the E-mini's probably eventually going to break the top of this range, but the treasuries don't seem to care anymore. There it is. Okay. They broke it. Yep. And everything else is just kind of sitting here. The dollar is taking a dive, though, which usually when the dollar goes down, usually treasuries go down too, right? That's not what's happening at the moment. And there was a pretty big iceberg at 28 on the upside. So I'm not quite sure what to think about that either. That could be profit taking from the bottom. Excuse me. Hmm. See that they come up, they break the pivot, the last pivot high. It ticks down one tick, and then a bunch of treasuries buy in. And maybe they're going to push a new high before the open. It feels so very high up there, but it's not. It's just 5 ticks. More contracts trickling into 28.5. We should close that. Now we have Fed minutes today. Yes, we do. FOMC minutes at noon. Well, the equities broke up into this new higher range, but they didn't make it to the high. They're still trading a decent number of contracts around there too. In ES. Pretty quiet here. 10 minutes ahead of equities open. A lot of contracts going into 29 now. The thing is in the 10-year, I'm seeing a lot of contracts traded at almost every price. Not really necessarily telling us anything. I do see that the book definitely did flip. I thought that it could flip back down and it didn't. And gold kind of took this dive down and it's pulling back the same as treasuries are. Okay, so they downticked to 28.5 now. Took 5K to do it. I can see the book is flipping back now. It's coming back really, really fast in the what's with that in the 5 year. Didn't see anything pull. Let's watch that 17.5 though. New York Stock Exchange tweets, "The Great Depression didn't stop us, 9/11 didn't stop us, and this won't stop us either. Together we're strong." And then they had a video. Hmm. Mm. While there has been some uh, slightly elevated levels of activity in the 10-year Treasury at the beginning of the session, since that time they've just kind of done a pullback from their initial move down earlier. So it looks to me like that there is some traders out there expecting to make a move on the open here, but at the moment, the market overall doesn't have a whole lot of conviction on it. So we're really going to have to see what the E-mini does here. They might be a really tight battle, you know. I don't know what's wrong with my system. I feel tired still. Something hit my system, so now they're back at the 29. That's a stock, and I do not follow individual stocks. We do futures, so I can tell you what the overall market sentiment is, what they might be doing for the index, but I can't tell you about an individual stock. Don't know anything about it. Hmm. Yeah, I definitely. So the book in the 30-year in particular seems to really be shifting. Hmm. Was that? Did they just stack down there? I don't see. It was 28 half. Huh. That's curious. Public Health England testing data from yesterday shows that not a single case of COVID-19 have yet been diagnosed in London or in Southeast from swabs taken on Monday. Really? So the most populous section of the country hasn't been hit yet? Here they're popping up a little bit. This first impulse in the mini, like, let's watch really carefully. It could be interesting. Okay. Oops. That was not intentional. Yeah, this could be bad. Well, now that we've started it like that. Beautiful. Ooh, look at those treasuries come back down. Okay, 27.5 showing a little bit of puffing up a little bit. No, no. It's just the minutes are coming out today. So not beige book, but it's the minutes from the last meeting so that you can see what they actually said in the meeting. Okay, that 27.5 is getting eaten through. In the 10-year, book is flipping. Some buying in the E-mini, but not a lot of follow through on it yet. It's actually relatively tame. The chart, it looks like wild, but it's not. It's just like 2 points. Okay. So something going on right there at 54. Why do you think long treasuries today? Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. Hmm. Well, they're trading some big numbers here. I'm seeing some thousands. But like, look, they can't even get above 56. Yeah, and then it just takes off. I mean, like, we've totally seen that before. Absolutely. You know what, though? I do think that that move yesterday did create a little change in sentiment, but I think that the change in sentiment has gone from like overly bullish to somewhat neutral. Just looking at the way the market has been trading, like look at this open. This is like very different. It's been 5 minutes and we haven't really broken out of like the initial moves. It's just a meat grinder at the moment. Yeah, no, totally. It was like it was just the day traders took it into the close, and then that was the end of it. But this is what I'm saying. I don't think that the vaccine was actually like when you think about the news for the vaccine, it doesn't give us a vaccine sooner. The data that was in there was like it was like a study with 6 people. Okay, so like why should that move markets? Really, really, if you really dig into it, it really shouldn't, right? It's an excuse. They were going to buy it anyways, and the vaccine just made it so that they had to chase it instead of just slowly buying it, right? So now the vaccine comes out. Of course, you get a short-term trade, but it hasn't changed their fundamental view. Because why are they buying it? They're buying it because the central bank is pumping money into the central bank system to keep things up. I don't think that there's any real conviction on the downside right now, as long as the Federal Reserve is doing its thing. Eventually, it can dip down like it did in 2008. Most people in the market seem to think that we'll get a W recovery, but if everybody's trying to short it, that's really hard to happen. So, but looks to me like the sentiment hasn't really changed. But this open is different from any other open that I have seen in the last I want to say like 4 months. I haven't seen an open like this in a really long time. It's been 7 minutes now, and they're still in the a range of like 3 points. So yeah, they're not getting a direction yet. Well, there's been kind of, so on the open it was buying, and then since that time there's been a little bit of net selling, but nobody's been able to break through an area that would actually, create a move. Oh, block selling the treasuries. That's interesting. That didn't actually clear it at 28. I'm quite surprised. If that was a stop, then somebody got lucky there. That it held. The thing is when I look at the internals, I don't know what the put call ratio is, but everything on the internals looks bullish. Okay. Well, they did, like, right there around that open, a lot of contracts did trade hands. Okay, so bulls are threatening the high. Treasury's coming down again. Yeah, there's a new high. Oh, was it? No, I guess it wasn't. Not in the E-mini. There, now that's a new high. Okay. And some stops on it, too. So now is a good time to come over here. Does TradingView show order books? I don't think they have that feature, no. Okay. 80, really? Well, okay. Okay, so we're getting pulled back now. Maybe even threatening to push back to the open again. The treasuries came all the way back pretty quickly. Okay. So do you notice? I just want to point out on that last run the MES went further than the ES. There's a good number of stops there. Yeah, that's really causing a bit of a couple of upset hands, I think. There. Oh man, that's some real strength right there, man. That was a real stop run, man. So I took a contract off to sell into strength. Just in case, there's, okay, whoa. 2000 at 29.61? Hmm. Hey, Air Cages. I was wondering what taking you so long. It's been so quiet today. It's not the natural flow. We never finished the down cycle completely. I don't know. That was a lot of stops. Hmm. Oh, I don't know about that. I think I've had. It's not over yet. The whole thing that I'm trying to do right now is read the market overall, and I think we've done an okay job at that. But I really don't like the way that all went down in the treasury. I was really looking for the treasuries to be pushing 20 again, and didn't really happen. Um, so far we've been doing okay on the E-mini, but like I don't know why same reason it goes up every day. Air cages, because the Federal Reserve is pumping money into the stock market. Here's the funny thing is that it's not even like the Federal Reserve is pumping money in the stock market. They were saying they were going to buy corporate debt ETFs, so maybe that's a different thing. But like all of the money that they're printing and everything, that's just like temporary loans to allow reserve banks to continue doing business, which means that people still have to actually have business to come in and buy things. But I think that it's really turned into this psychological effect. It's turned into this thing where if the Federal Reserve is doing something, we just ignore everything else and just do what the Federal Reserve is doing. Yeah, it's just liquidity. It's not actual. They're not actually directly buying stocks. They can't do that without an act of Congress. So you just see the most nonsensical moves in this kind of environment. I think. I mean, that's not the first time I've seen it. Or I remember during the QE days that it just always went up. Guido, I wouldn't really recommend CFDs. I just I don't really think that they're really giving you a I it's not something that I've looked at a lot, but there are some guys if you go into Discord they can set you right on them. But the amount of risk that you're taking on them and everything, it doesn't really make sense. I don't think that it's a super great what is the word, instrument. Yeah, there they go again, and more stops. Yeah. I don't know. The thing is that there was so many instruments and services and stuff that really only existed because the margin required for the S&P 500 mini contract was too high. And now that they have micros, there's like no point in any of those things. And so you're going to see, yeah, market manipulation. Well, it's funny, air cages, because everybody wants to say that it's market manipulation, like that the Federal Reserve. I do think that the Federal Reserve is, or that the PPT is coming in and telling banks to buy the index futures at certain spots. There's just been some holds that just look too coordinated on the absorption that stopped the move. But I digress. It's not really important. We can't prove that. But I think that the real manipulation here is in sentiment. Like, look at it. Is there anybody that you know that is actually bullish? Like genuinely bullish? Like, oh, things are so great. Our future is so good. Oh, jeez, that's awful. Do I know? Do you really know anybody that is like a genuine bull? Well, that's using BlackRock to buy an ETF that deals in corporate bonds. So that's not necessary. Although I kind of question if they really are allowed to do that. But I digress. This is a prop job. Do you know anybody that's bullish? And yet, who is buying all this shit? Y'all buying it. You're pessimistic. See? Oh, geez, there, Cages, you're funny. Nah, that's the federal. They have done something amazing. They have convinced everybody to trade against their own sentiment on the economy. That's the net effect. They nobody is bullish. Like 70%, something like 70% of the market thinks that this is going to be like a U-shaped or W-shaped recovery, and that it's going to take a really really long time, which does not line up with the way that the indexes is trading. So who is buying it? Well, they're all ignoring their own short-term sentiment because of the Federal Reserve. And the Federal Reserve isn't even really doing anything all that much that necessitates that they move up. It's just that people say don't fight the Fed, and so they do it. It's sentiment manipulation, and there's a limit to it, you know. I just don't know where that limit is. But you can see today they're buying it. My volatility target is somewhere up at in the 80 area. I'm also keeping an eye on yesterday's high at 29.76. I'm noting that the treasuries are still slightly elevated, which is a little out of line because the cumulative delta is still lower. John Grady, haven't posted in a while, but I had a thought this morning. The rally in the stock indexes back to these levels is probably the single best example I could show in explaining why I don't hold overnight positions. I see no sane reason for the buying, but it's been happening. It didn't change the sentiment. So at this point, you have to ask yourself what realistically has to happen for sentiment to change. Hmm. Let's see here. 752. think that when we get, well, actually, this is about the time that we should be taking it off. Well, maybe we should have taken it off up here. Let's just watch and see if we get something. I think around here would be good. The feds aren't allowed to directly buy equities, are they? No, they're not. They're not. Well, I think that's a lot of actual regular everyday people actually are investing. Seems to me like I see more people involved in the markets than I've ever seen. It's like that, there's been such a lack of activity for such a long time, and yeah. Anyways, it's a good thing, but I can't help but feel like that the public is being suckered here. This is something. Well, yeah. I mean, the thing is that they don't have to buy it. You just say to the banks, "Hey, look, like you don't have to worry about your solvency. We're going to make sure that you're adequately capitalized. So you take the positions long that you have to. So it's not the Federal Reserve's money that's buying it, but the buying wouldn't be able to happen without the Federal Reserve's money, right? So it kind of turns into this whole thing like money is fungible. You know what I mean? They're not directly buying it, but it enables the banks to buy it. And I think that what they do is they go and they say to the banks, okay, we need you. If there's like a big move about of this much, you should just step in and buy it with futures. I think that's what they do. Right? It is a good point. It's probably the impact of that is already gone. But I noticed like immediately when those checks started coming out, they started bidding the market up. It was like they was expecting it and they were front running it. Okay, what was John Grady responding to over here? Mm-mm. I don't see it yet. He made another tweet, but I don't see the second tweet. Twitter's being a little slow. Okay, so they're going out to stop out a bunch of people. Okay. I don't really see anything. Well, since I didn't get that, we're gonna have to wait and see what comes. When that 8:15 counter trend period kind of comes along, there's always kind of some weird action, and I'm kind of trying to avoid that. Okay. Well, they're kind of threatening new high again. Ugh. Oh man, something's definitely wrong with me. I'm getting some my gut. Hmm. There. Oh, what? I did not get filled? Boo. I think that in reality I would have gotten filled, but the way that the sim works, it didn't let me. Did I just hear somebody knock on the door? Well, let's take it off there. I'll be right back. Well, but should have held on. It's okay. Uh, uh, uh. Still, we still got like 15 minutes here. Like this is, I think I'm still taking it off here tactically. Oh no, Hu Xixin responds to Donald Trump's tweet. I have never heard of such a wacko in China making this statement, so I have reason to doubt that this dope is actually a fictional one based on someone in your team because there are too many liars in your team. This is so weird. Oh. Yeah, right there. Right there, 66 looks good. 1,000. They might push up again, but my tactically, I don't want to deal. I don't want to deal with the the counter trend period. And bonds are not like coming down, curiously enough. $3,000 today. It's still going. Okay. Anyways, back to what we were talking about earlier. It's so fun. Like, even look at the comments here in Discord. It's like everybody is flabbergasted that we're moving up in the manner that we are. You all probably bought it. You're probably just like me. You're all doing exactly what I just did. You buy it, and then it goes up, and you're like, what the hell? Why is it going up? Because we all know that it's going to do it, but none of us think that it should be. This is just the most bizarre thing. I just think it's the most bizarre thing. Hey, how are you, Jonathan? I don't know. I think you should. I don't know, man. You know, we've gotten back to this thing. Here's I want to have the discussion with you guys. And when I say I want to have the discussion with you guys, I'm not saying like let's just argue about it right here in YouTube and this and that. No, I mean that like over the course of this summer, we're gonna do work. And you got, can all contribute to this. Yeah, it should reverse. I don't know. Anyways, I want to have this discussion over the summer, and we can do work and try and prove it wrong or right. Okay, but the contention is this, and this is the age old debate. But I'm trying to reframe it a little bit different. I'm trying to use different language. So my contention is this: the edge that you can derive using purely market generated information is extremely limited. That's my statement. That's my statement. If all you care about is price movement, what you can actually pull out on a consistent basis is very limited. If I had been trying to trade technical signals there, I don't think I could have held it as long as I did. The only reason I took it off was because I don't want to have a peak before the counter trend period. Rand Squawk is retweeting whose tweet and asking Dana White to make it happen. There's another 1,000 right there at 66. The amount of cumulative delta to take it up here, we're now at 20,000. Well, that is true too, Quants, but I think that's a slightly different thing, right? So, like, if we can all read CNBC, we can all see the stuff that's on Twitter, right? Now, a lot of people aren't looking at that stuff. A lot of robots aren't looking at that stuff. A lot of short-term traders aren't looking at that stuff. So maybe that stuff does. There's enough people not looking at it that it does provide an edge. I don't know, but you're right. Like, it's hard to generate excess returns. Let's say, let's not use the term alpha, because you could have alpha. You could have an edge over other traders, but still not be able to generate excess returns, really, right? But yeah, so let's say it's hard to generate excess returns using data everyone else is using because it's competitive. Because it's competitive. But I'm saying something different. My contention is specifically the source of the information. I think that if you come in and you have a piece of information that's out in the market, like that a vaccine has come out, and the information that we were initially provided about the vaccine that caused the initial buy turns out to be not as scientifically sound as was initially portrayed, then you can come in and you can say, okay, that's going to change some sentiment because a lot of people were buying because they were told that the vaccine was why the market's going up. So I think that we're going to get a little bit of a sell, and you sell it. So that is more information from outside of the market, right? That news story, the market didn't generate that news story, right? What does the market generate? Price, volume, level two, indexes like the volatility index. These are all sources of market generated information. And what I'm saying is that it's really difficult to to get anything out of the market generated information. Like, we're doing all of this technical analysis on it, and I'm not saying that technical analysis doesn't work. I'm just saying which is when we say it doesn't work, that like there's definitely tendencies that can be explained by technical analysis, but can you generate excess returns from it? Probably not. Probably. So I think that the take that you want to do is you want to look at the market, see what the sentiment is, generate a game plan based on that sentiment, and then use technical analysis to manage your risk, to tell you, okay, so here's some levels that have been important. Here's what the momentum is doing. Here's, all of these different technical things that can help you enter in at a good place and minimize the amount that the market goes against you, and maximize your profit taken. I didn't maximize my profit taken here on this one because I don't know. I'm still figuring out how to tactically do this. Maybe the answer is that I got in, and I should just stay in it until it goes to 29.83. What's Chewy saying? ES tested my downside target at 2900, 2910 late in the day yesterday and rallied from there in the overnight session, following our entire projection to a T. Despite the late day sell off, the put call spread closed around 0.5, and the CBOE equity put calls closed at 0.46, suggesting retail traders got more bullish during the sell off. This type of complacency suggests that there will be some more downside action before we test my next upside target, which is 29.83 to 88. Hmm. Mm. How much did I miss out on? Well, I was at 63, so it's not actually that big of a deal. We are running into a little bit of absorption here. Nate Silver, I do think pollsters should weight by education, and it's probably correct that failure to weight by education will cause a Democrat bias, but there are a lot of debatable practices which can and will produce biases in both directions. And it's kind of interesting watching Nate Silver because his whole thing has been that an aggregate of polls tends to be correct. But then I think that the more that he's gone into it, the more he's realized that polling is really a lot more complicated than people than we give it credit for. I expect another pullback from the 2965 level. Most possible spot to test is 2930. If the support holds, we will likely head higher again, but time to test that 88. Conversely, if ES breaks down below 2930, it will likely head to 2900 or lower, but this is unlikely to happen, especially if put calls rises. Well, so they rallied right into the counter trend period. Let's see now if we get a reversal. That was a pretty strong buy. I think that probably, I can't really see it, but I think probably there was a lot of, there was probably a great deal of shorts. Yeah. So they were at 17. Huh. Wow. I think that the play here should be a reversal, but I personally don't have a whole lot of conviction on it. So the issue that I'm having here is that we're talking about a lot of technicals. I want to trade based off of news and sentiment changes. So I don't think that I have a trade here, but I really want to sell it for some reason. I still got this thing going on in the treasuries. I think the treasuries kind of seem to be suggesting that we could go down again. I don't know. Let's because this one didn't turn out the way that we wanted it to, let's just scratch it. Okay, so I'm getting a decent number of clicks here. I got rid of them. Opinion polls showing the tough job global governments will have in persuading their populations to return to work. Five-year is still offered, so I don't. COVID cases have fallen 99% in London, with fewer than 100 a day now being diagnosed in a city of 9 million. It's a manageable risk. My column in the case for reopening schools and the economy. Tweets Fraser Nelson. Retweeted by Training for Audio. Well, I still see a volume and everything relatively up, modestly up. Okay, we got out of that. Okay, I need to check on something now here. Hmm. I'm gonna have to use the scroll button because I want to scroll back in the history here to go like really, really far back. Really far back. This is such a. I'm looking back. Somebody asked me a question, and I'm like, about something that happened a long time ago, and so now I'm like going back through my history and trying to figure out what it was. Not a big deal or anything, but I'm gonna have to like scroll back like hardcore back. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's right. That whole thing. Oh my gosh. 63. Oh, I kind of while I was not paying attention there, I did see that they broke 70. So isn't that above yesterday's high now? No, it was 76. It's a pretty big when you look back at the run though, it's pretty big. It's pretty big now. I don't know if it's a big deal, but it seems like a pretty big run to me. But let's let the counter trend period do its thing. I mean some of the technical guys in Discord are kind of giving us reason to think that we could get a significant pullback here. Not that we're going to reverse, but okay. Uh, Okay. Sorry, I'm typing something here with somebody, but I kind of want to. Somebody's asking me a question in PM, and I kind of, but it's a private thing. But I'm kind of interested, so I want to tell them a story here. Yeah, you know what? Smash the bid. The thing is um that's why I scratched it, because I was looking back at it and I was like, well, the 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 thought was that we could go to 20. At the moment, it really doesn't look like that's going to happen, does it? So I think that we have to say that we were either early or we were wrong. So, but I was trying to do a bigger play. Maybe I shouldn't have let it go as many against me as I did, but it didn't hit my stop. That's the thing. Like I was looking for it to go to 20, and so that meant that I could give it like 7 or 8 ticks or something. So I it didn't it was fine. But then when it came back, I was like, well, okay, I guess I should take my legs. Uh but then I go look back at it and I'm like, well, I can't really explain why it has done what it does. It looks pretty random to me. So yeah, I think I got lucky. I'm happy with the e-mini trade. And I'm happy with maybe I should have cut my losses on that one. Like, one of the things was when I saw it was kind of coming up, and it was like, well, one of the things was that I was kind of looking for it to do the level break, and it didn't do it. So I probably should have taken it off a lot earlier, anyways. So that I'm not happy about, but everything else, I feel like I followed through with my plan, and the market has so far validated my strategy, and so I'm pretty happy with it. The 50% fixed range target for the day is 29.75. That's interesting. Okay, yeah. The one on Trading View is giving us more like 29.80, but yeah, that's somewhere up there. Somewhere up there. But I don't know. We haven't gotten the reversal yet. It's just kind of been doing this sideways thing during the counter trend period, hasn't it? And not even really all that sideways. It's really very much staying up there. What's Rich posting here? This article presents an innovative approach to measuring intraday VAR that combines the use of robust parametric technique, gamma VAR, with Monte Carlo simulation to capitalize on the respective strength of these models. The simulation is optimized by using parametric VAR results to limit the required number of portfolio reevaluations to those random scenarios that are statistically relevant given the Greek estimated profit and loss distribution, as well as variance reduction tool to minimize the standard Monte Carlo error term. As the results presented here will show, these techniques combined with portfolio and market risk factor compression significantly enhance the performance and precision of Monte Carlo engine, although the VAR alone, no matter how sophisticated the model, is not sufficient to effectively capture all the possible market moves. It is an invaluable intraday tool for risk managers. Yeah, I don't know. All I know is that I wanted to trade it till 8:15, and just be out of the counter trend period, and then kind of decide where we want to take it from there. Because I feel like, even though I am kind of looking for yesterday's high at 29.76, I think that we caught enough of that the trade that I was trying to do has come through, and I don't really have a whole lot of reason to know if it's going to keep going more or not. Yeah. Yeah, it totally does smash the bid. But this goes to the larger thing, and here's where maybe you can help me, because my take right now is that when I start seeing all of that activity, I'm not so sure that anything that we can really see really tells us that much. Like, the amount of analysis that we actually have to do to really know where it's going to go from here, I don't think that I know enough for, you know. I think there are some things that we can see from the order flow for sure, But like when we come down to the bottom, I mean, like right here, there's an iceberg 5700 at 27 and 5700 at 26 half on both sides. I can't. I have no clue. That doesn't tell me anything. I don't think. Now, if there is something there, you can see that you think has a really high probability of telling us where we're going. Then hey, we're good. But I think the way that I'm trying to take it is how has sentiment changed overnight? What is the overall economic situation, and then using kind of the technicals and levels to kind of guess where we might move to. Um, and I kind of want to have a specific idea of where it's going to go. And I might not be as precise with the entry at the moment. So like on that last one, like, hey, we were early. Maybe we could have sold it back when it was at 29. And then try that play for them to go into the lows. That would have been better. That would have been a better play, right? We probably could have done that. We probably could have worked that out better. Donald Trump, we have sent our best military and FEMA teams already there. Governor, you must set. You're free to help. Gotcha. Yeah, I think that's the way to do it. So let me try and present it in a different way. Because I'm doing this because I'm trying to like come up with what are like the intellectual frameworks that are make the most sense to people and help them the most. And one of the ones that I've been using is that I think that edges can be categorized into different categories, and the categories are discovery, analysis, and execution. So discovery meaning your ability to find a new trade, which is always going to be important because the environment is constantly changing. Analysis, your ability to look at those potential trades and determine if they're actually trades that you should take. Your ability to look at the environment and convert that into an outlook that is effective and has a chance of predicting the future. And then execution, actually executing on those ideas. And so I think that what one of the mistakes that I've made in the past is that I look for order flow for discovery. I say, oh, hey, there's a huge iceberg here. I should take a trade here because of that. Well, order flow can tell you things, but for entry, I think that really what order flow is it's an execution edge. And so it makes more sense to me right now to have a outlook and an opinion about how the trading day is likely to go based on that outlook, and playing the outlook is, you know, trying to use the outlook to determine value and determine where it's going to go and trade it to there, and just use the order flow to figure out which the best price is to get in at that time. Instead of, and unless it's like very specific situations like, oh, I have a really bearish, excuse me, I have a really bearish economic outlook today. Think that there's been a sentiment change. I think that treasuries are going to move up. I see that they're moving up and I see that they're reloading, and then maybe I can take that. Well, today I kind of started to see my trade in, so I took it, but I think I relied on it too much, and the bigger issue is that I think I was wrong. Whatever, I don't know what caused the treasuries to move around the way that they have, but I think that it's mostly random, probably. Yeah, yeah. But this goes into the larger contention that I'm trying to make at the moment, which is that I believe that the amount of edge that you can generate from purely market generated information is extremely limited. That's that's my That's my argument right now. Not saying that technical analysis doesn't work or that it's useless. I'm just saying that you're probably not going to make a whole lot of money from it. Or you're not going to make excess returns, which is what we really want. So I think that what happens is, hey, E-mini's moving up. So everybody that is using technical analysis and trades long, they're going to do great. And then they turn around and they say, see, technical analysis works. But then they're not generating excess returns. Everybody in that market that's competent is making money because money's coming into that market. But they're not actually generating an excess returns because they don't actually have an edge that is beyond what the rest of the market has. And the rest of the market has every technical indicator that you have. These robots go and back test them and combine them in all these ways and figure out what would work best at that time. So how are you going to generate excess returns from that? That's my argument. And I want you guys to prove me wrong. I went to do some work, and I'm going to be doing my work to say, okay, I think that I can do a pretty okay job at taking trades in a direction and getting it, based purely on sentiment. And we'll see if you guys can prove me that you would be better off just using purely technical analysis. Let's see here. Secretary of State Pompeo, the world's maritime community has been warned. Well, that might not necessarily be true if everybody in the market is losing money and you didn't lose anything. I should probably maybe you're saying that I should still be in or I should have gotten back in, but the issue is I don't have enough conviction and further upward sentiment to justify another entry here. I should have held that one when I got out at 63. Let's see here. Secretary of State Pompeo, the world's maritime community has been warned that doing business with vessels linked to Iran risks severe consequences. Which indicator? I didn't mention a specific indicator just now, did I? Or are you talking about the well, not everybody, but probably 95% of people. I mean, 95% of traders fail anyways. But I think that if you were to look at traders that have traded year after year and have some reasonable record of profitability over time, I think that you would find that there's a lot less having made money this year than usual. I still don't understand what you're asking me at, Diptic. There's a lot of indicators that we've worked out, but the one that you're probably asking about is the one that's giving us the levels and is just levels based on the VIX, and you can find it out here. It's not really proprietary. Gary Rich gave it to us, and we turned it into an indicator, and it's available to everybody. And it's kind of yeah, it's fine. Says I'm too clueless. I think that that's what you're talking about, and that will show you the levels. Now there's kind of this weird there's kind of this weird thing where hold on. It kind of depends on where the open is and what the open of the VIX is, and the platforms kind of report it a little bit differently. Bots has a version of the indicator that works in NinjaTrader that, from my observation, seems to be a little bit more accurate. I mean, the thing is if you look at the distribution profile of the day's range compared to what the VIX and what it should be and everything, there's not like a line that says like this is where it should end up at. It actually looks quite random. But when it hits John's 50% line, man, there's always something happening there. There are always stops up there. So there's clearly some algorithm or group of traders trading this already. And we're just kind of catching that zone of interest. So what edge that gives you, I don't know. But we've seemed to have had some success dealing with it. Okay, 95% trading fail rate does not mean everybody in the market is losing money. No, but you're going to see a higher percentage of failing traders this year than usual. Right? Because think about it, like it's a zero-sum game, but it really isn't a zero-sum game because the people that were really trading against the hedge funds don't expect to make money on every trade. They're hedging themselves. They don't want to take a risk on this particular thing. Like if we're trading the 10-year, they're trading that because they don't want their trade to be at risk of, they don't want to take on the risk of interest rate changes. So they take a position in the treasuries so that it's not affected, right? So that is money that's actually coming in that market makers can split amongst themselves. Okay. But if the funds are losing money and that money they're coming in and they're trying to yank that money out of the market, that means that there's less money going to be available for the market makers. And so less of the market makers are actually going to come out profitable. So you're going to end up with a situation where, let's say that maybe, just for the sake of argument, there's 100 traders that are profitable on any given year. And this year, there's maybe going to be 40. That's what I'm saying. And so I wouldn't be surprised. You're talking to traders, most of them are going to have lost money. More so than normal. They did move a little bit lower there in the treasury. Where did I have that from? Was like 26, right? No, I don't even have it up here. Yeah, it was 26.5. So they have gone my way a little bit, but I don't know if they're actually going to push down or not. But I think I'm done with it. I think I was wrong early. Well, we're past the counter trend period now. It's still kind of slow. I mean, they're threatening that high again. Yeah. Yeah, so Adeptic, the link that I posted, you come over here, you'll see this. It shows you a chart, but what you can do is you can click here and say, add to favorite scripts. And then when you come over here into Trading View and you click on indicators or strategies and favorites, and look, there you have a fixed range estimate. You add it on and it will look like this. You get these little things. So the gray line is where we opened at. And then, these lines are the targets. So here mine says 29.80 John's actually says 29.75. So that's kind of the areas you're looking for. I'm not quite sure what the discrepancy is, but it has something to do with like the data that you get out of the two are slightly different where they think the open actually was. But don't think of it as a hard line. It's kind of a zone anyways, right? And I'm working on something that I think we want to sell that will give you a scatter plot, which I think will be awesome. Let's see here. We're still getting. I should pull this up. Oh, it does look like we're already out of new messages. That sucks. We'll have to figure out how to port it over to Thinkorswim. Oh yeah. If you've worked with scripting at all, Adeptic, should be pretty easy. Actually, the Think script is a little bit. I don't know. The way that you have to do things in Pineview is a little weird. Nah, I don't think that anybody's made it in Thinkorswim yet. But it's really simple, Adeptic. It's just you take the VIX and you divide it by a certain factor, and there's different factors that you can use, but we've been using 16. And then you use, based off of what you get from there, you times, that's the percentage move that you expect to get. I'm like explaining that like way too complicated. Price of the VIX divided by 16 times 0.01 so that you get a percent. You then take the E-mini open and times it by that. And that is how far you expect it to move. And then you just get targets, like do it by multiples of that. You modified yours to use 19 instead of 16? That's interesting. I mean, I haven't even been putting it up, but since the VIX is a price in time, right? Yeah. Well, and I mean that's why it's a little bit weird. Like this is the thing that I find so interesting about this is that the number seems to matter significantly, even though everything that I'm looking at says that it really shouldn't. So I don't know if maybe we have a bigger impact on the market than we think. I thought it was interesting that I took that trade in the 10-year that just didn't end up very well. And then smashed a bid, came back later and said, "Oh, you got really lucky on that." Was like, "Oh, so did you try trading against it or doing something because of that?" Because I don't know. I have noticed that there are times when the market will just really try and fight me. And I'm kind of learning that, like, I don't know if it's really a thing or if it's just that's the way that, like I'm getting in an area that is just bad spot to be in anyways, or if I'm actually being targeted. But I've learned that, like, no, you can't take a position in like a quiet area where they can try and push you out of your position unless you're willing to take on a lot of risk. You got to take it in an area where like people have to be stupid to fight against you. You have to be early, but still forcing them. So I try and trade like that everybody is watching, even if they aren't. So maybe the VIX is reacting to that, because I tell you what, man, when that number hits, you will see the stops. Like Bot says that he changed his number to 19, but I guarantee you when they hit his number that he's talking about, he was saying 76, right? There's going to be stop orders up there. Well, they buying it up there a little bit. Maybe got an opportunity at 67, but I think I'm probably done for the day. I want to keep yapping, but like, it's 9 o'clock. You can tell by the way that we're starting to get into summer action because we always see less activity in the channel during the summer, and I'm already seeing the numbers come back down again. So that's interesting. It could be a tough summer, man. Especially if they decide to have a summer route again, because that happens a lot. I've seen that a lot where they're just bearish all summer for no reason, sell in May and go away, sort of a thing. Right now, they seem to be saying that that's not what's going to happen. But if it takes hold, this summer could be like really difficult. When you say always see less activity in the channel, how many data points are you using? Well, I think we've been doing this 3 years now, maybe 4. And yeah, in fact, I think I could probably show it. Let's see. Let's see if I can prove that. It might be a little difficult because of outliers. So if I go to the lifetime of the channel, oh man, that's so hard to see. Yeah, there's some outliers, so it's kind of hard to see it. But I actually did okay in the summer of 2019. Yeah, so I'll just show you over here. So sometimes I'll have a video that does really well and it creates these spikes, and that makes it really hard for us to see. But you can see a little bit here in June. Like here, we in 2017, pretty good in the summer and going even into April and May, and then like it kind of goes dead. They didn't really come back until the next year again. And then same thing here. And I think that what you're going to see is in June, it might die down. Well, I don't think that I made as many videos during that time too. So maybe it's self-fulfilling prophecy. I don't know. But a month ago or so, we were getting about 50 people. Could it correlate with the days you shave? I don't. Statistically valid 3. No, but it does line up with what we would expect to see, right? There's less people trading in the summer. Without question, there's less activity in the summer. So, whatever. Especially August. August is the worst. Kill me. August is the worst. Now, it's usually like it starts to die down and then in May, and then after Memorial Day, which is like what, this weekend, right? That's when it gets rough. That's when it gets rough. But yeah, we were pushing like peak viewers of 50, I think. A couple of weeks ago, like YouTube was recommending it a lot for whatever reason. And now it's not recommending it as much and not as many people are coming in. It's about 30 again. You 30 of you that are the loyal viewers that are here every day, and I just am so appreciative of you. Appreciative. But it's great. You guys are all great. YouTube is being a little weird today too, because it's telling me, it actually says in the top, it says current viewers 16, but then down in like the little graph, it shows me 23. I don't pay attention to that graph until afterwards, but usually I've noticed, I used to be like, oh, should I not talk about X thing because that people won't like that and they'll go away? And what I found is that it really doesn't matter what I talk about. So you guys are great. Okay, well, it's 9 o'clock. I do think that the E-mini is going to make it up to 2976. But I do not have a lot of conviction in that. They did not turn back down very much, though. I wonder, did those guys in equities scratch those? Well, we do have the FOMC minutes too, and that's probably something to wait for, huh? I totally forgot about that. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. Who are we talking about? It doesn't matter what you talk about because we all have you on mute. Well, you know what? If you have me on mute and but you're still opening up the video and watching, thank you so much. Anyways, you guys are so great. Yeah, like I can't think of a greater compliment that you guys care and want to help the channel out so much that you'll just open it up but then mute it because you can't stand listening to me. Not me. I live for Sethisms. Oh man. Okay, well, you know what? I'm just thinking back on the trades that I made today. I did make a boo boo, by the way, at the beginning. Because I traded the 5 lot and I didn't mean to. No, we listened, but closer. Oh, there you go. Oh, I smell what you're stepping in, Adeptic. No. So I took that 5 lot one and I didn't mean to. So then I immediately took 2 the other way and caught it. And once I was break even, I was like, okay, no, we're not gonna mess with that one. Here I had a loser on that one, but then I tried it again, and that was the one that worked out. And then we had the ZN that was just an awful trade, but worked. Like we scratched it, and probably we could have just gotten out with only -2 and would have been fine. I don't know if they're going to drop. So we should see what they do on the Fed minutes. But it looks like they already made their moves, and the 10-year may just kind of sit here for a bit. I don't know. I was at one of your competitors the other afternoon, and it was so boring. He didn't talk. He just sounded like Sulu on Star Trek calling out numbers every once in a while. Oh, really? Like one of the things that I find so weird is because I like to have the experience of being a viewer too. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, uh, being the star of the show or whatever is really a great thing. Like, you get a lot of uh, insight into yourself from people that I don't think you would get any other way, and that's really cool. And it feels good just to have people watching you. But the experience that you guys get as a fan is really great too. Like, and I've found a couple of people on Twitch, although they don't necessarily keep my interest for very long. But when I'm watching them, like I'm into it because it's like you get to talk to them and you have an interaction with them, and it's great. I think it's an awesome experience, and I expect that this streaming world will only increase because we haven't seen the Martha Stewart or Oprah of streaming yet. It's gonna happen, I'm telling you. And when it does, it's gonna be huge. Okay, so it's only gonna grow. But I really like that experience. And it's so weird to me that so many of the channels that on YouTube that are doing trading stuff and have a lot of viewers, they're not doing any of that at all. It's literally just a screen of like a chart, and that's it, and you're just watching it. Like, why? You can pull up TradingView yourself, guys. Why watch it without and you're not even anything? I mean, at least I have a DOM up. I don't understand it. But I'm sure that there's people they have good promotional, and there's reasons people watch it. We're not necessarily out there looking to be the most popular stream ever. I'm just trying to do my best job at it, let's say, and build a community. Community is what is the real goal here. And you guys, man, I mean, we've done an awesome job with that. That has nothing to do with me. We just, for whatever reason, we've attracted some great people, and I'm really grateful. Maybe the Martha Stewart of streaming is baking now in a prison somewhere. You mean Martha Stewart's out of jail now, isn't she? Nah, they're back to that 67 area. I guess if we really still had conviction in the long side, we could buy it here, but this is an area where well, and actually the tick is in an okay spot, I think, to take it. I don't know about that one. I'm looking back at like the 29.58. Where did we start at? Yeah. I think that we, or maybe 60, we could come back and retest that. So I would be a little worried about. Even if I wanted to take a trade right now, I'd be careful. And I am seeing the advanced decline kind of coming down a little bit more on this move down. And the trend is doing something. I don't know what the trend is supposed to do, but so maybe we should be careful about that. What happened to the robot voice? We ran out of requests. You Google doesn't give us enough requests. It only lasts for like 2 hours. The market is looking vulnerable. Yeah. Like, I'm looking at it from a price perspective. I'm like, this is as good of a buy opportunity as you've had for the last 30 minutes. But then when I kind of look at where we're at and some of the internals, I think that if you want to buy, that maybe there's a chance that the bears are going to make a deeper excursion, because it just kind of looks like they're holding it there and like they're begging for somebody to come and stop them out. Okay. Anyways, I gotta get going. So I will catch you guys later tomorrow. Good day. Good week so far. I think we're making progress this week. More progress than we've been making recently. So, yep, have a good day. And see you tomorrow. And in the meantime, stay profitable, friends.